If you ask me, I would tell you, Riggy G is not popular. But Ruto's unpopularity makes him popular. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome again to Tony's Pod. I'm your host, Anthony Mutugi. Today is on the Katiba Day, as they have said, the 27th of August, when we are celebrating 15 years of the Kenyan Constitution. A lot has been happening, and well, today there's a lot I needed us to speak about, including vindicating myself. I remember there was a time I was telling you people, oh, they are killing children, and then some of you would comment and say, oh, they are not children who are being killed. The people who are being killed are goons, and if they are children who have been killed, they must have been among the goons. If you've watched the recent documentary with the hashtag that they killed children, that has been aired, I think that was yesterday or some day like that, you've seen the number of children that were killed by the state. Will compensation ever bring back those children? Will their pain ever be wiped away by, would it be 2 million shillings? 2 million shillings for the life of your son or daughter. 2 million shillings to pay you back all the dreams that your children had. Well, that's not what I want us to talk about. There are a lot more that I wanted us to cover about. And of course, football is back and the men are happy. Men, gentlemen, kama by now hujanunuliwa jezi, we jua uko kwa lineup. Kama hujapata jezi by now, we uko kwa top 10. And there's a lot that has been happening in the football world. From Harambee Stars being knocked off, Tanzania, our neighbors, who we are always partners in crime, even in matters football. We were kicked out, but we have our head held high, knowing that at least vijana wamepata experience. We hope that they'll do better in the AFCON qualifiers that are coming up next month. And we hope that at least hiyo mood ilikuwa with the CHAN competition, the football and sporting world in general, will continue being propagated. And maybe we improve our football levels. At least we compete with EPL or England. World Cup, here we come. Anyway, football in the EPL has just been a craze from the strikers who've been doing really, really good jobs, from Itikite, Richarlison, Arsenal striker Victor Gyökeres, among others. They showed that, hey, we've come here and we mean business. And for me, I'm seeing that teams are going to really face problems, especially with a player like Itikite. People thought that, hey, he might be tall, he wouldn't have the control that he always has. But the boy looks neat. He seems not to have pressure while holding the ball. Too quick, good ball control, and able to make space for others. I'm seeing him playing a very nice role at Liverpool, where maybe they don't need Isaac because he can play as a target man. He can play as a false 9. He can hold the ball and give it to the wingers, release the likes of Salah. So I'm feeling that Liverpool are better with him. Well, he's played at the wide position, but seems akiwa hapo katikati, at the center of it, at the number 9 position, he still seems to be doing a good job. And remember some of the players someone like Henry talks about how he used to be a winger, how he used to be a striker and then was turned to a winger. Mighty Dikitebe now becoming a full-time striker, where he will just be moved out of the wing to play as the central striker. We just don't know. I've also been scared about how Richarlison is playing. He's really playing well, especially with how they destroyed Man City. Man City were on the receiving edge of Tottenham. And Tottenham actually seems set to be destroying teams. And I'm really hoping that they have a strong campaign. Of course, not a better one than Arsenal, because as an Arsenal fan, I think right now we have the best squad that we can ever have or that we could ever get since the Invincibles. This is the most complete squad. This is a squad that can face any side in the world. You remember the first game where Arsenal won 1-0 against Man U? You could tell definitely that this team was not playing to their best. There was no a certain rhythm. They were not there. Typically, a few years ago, that was a game that we should have lost. By the way, do you remember the 8-2 humbling at the Old Trafford? If you remember that, then you are an Arsenal fan. You've been through tough times. Tough times have been there. And when we see ourselves going at our lowest moments, where we are not giving our best game, but we are able to grind out wins as with the Man U game, then that gives you joy to go to the next game and destroy a team 5-0 without having to compromise on the teams. Because even if you have 10 goals in one game, they only mean 3 points. So what we need more is to concentrate on the wins, concentrate on getting the maximum number of points from every game. And I feel that right now we are doing that. We have a formidable squad, and Eze is here. I mean, Eze is here, and if there's one man who can tell you that no matter what comes your way, never give up on your dreams. Over 15 years later, he is united with the Arsenal team. And it's actually said that when he got out of the Arsenal academy and he had to look for some other option, his mother told him, I'll pray that one day Arsenal will need you, you'll go back. He's had his boyhood shirts, the Arsenal jerseys that the mother has been keeping for him. So for the boy, it was a dream come true. And just imagine, this signing was hijacked from Tottenham. Still, even as we are talking right now, there's another signing that has been hijacked from Tottenham by Arsenal again. Piero Hincapié is also coming to join Arsenal as a defender. He's coming from the Bundesliga. And, well, Eze, with the case of Eze, we might say that, Arsenal did Tote bad. But the fact that Eze actually called Arteta and asked him, ain't it possible? Why would I be going to play for Tottenham? And you guys had asked for my services. Can't you make this happen? He's told, we'll get back to you. And that's how his dream to play for Arsenal came true. This time, when he's mature, when he's of age, when he has the number 10 shirt, Piero Hincapié from the Bundesliga is coming at the expense of Tottenham. By the way, yes, I understand that Tottenham are but in as much as Tottenham are why does Arsenal seem to take it personal, man? These things seems personal. Like 2 years ago, you guys failed to beat Man City for us. Did we have to take it so personal? Mikel Arteta, Andrea Bata, you guys, you are making the life of Tottenham difficult. Anyway, one man's meat is another man's poison. And so, Tottenham's heartbreak is our celebration. And one thing I would really have to say is that right now, Arsenal does not have an excuse. And being a person who loves football and loves sport, and not only for the Arsenal fans, but I would say that in as much as Arteta has not won any significant trophies apart from the FA trophy that he won during his first season with Arsenal, at least there are some promises that he made and he's been able to fulfill. When Arteta joined Arsenal, he didn't promise to win any trophies, but of course you don't know what will happen tomorrow. And I think, yes, there's the pressure of winning trophies, but there are few things that he promised. One, he promised to build a winning culture and identity. He said that we need to have a clear identity, have a winning culture, show that there was higher energy, build a strong culture that could sustain success, and emphasize on a first team mentality, accountability, emotional intelligence, among others. And while he was talking about this, he said that there will be standards, there will be levels, there will be standards that will be non-negotiable. And because of those non-negotiable standards, we saw the exit of big names like Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette, among others. There was a complete overhaul of that team just because he felt that first team mentality, discipline, accountability, emotional intelligence were things that had lacked in the Arsenal club. He also said that Arsenal would get back to competing for the top trophies. Remember when he was coming, we were not even playing in the Champions League. I think even in the Europa League, sometimes we wouldn't qualify. But right now, second finishes for 3 consecutive times. We are there. We are smelling. A semi-final in the Champions League. Ain't we almost there? Ain't we competing? Ain't we getting better by the day? Now, let's see whether he will end the Premier League title drought after those second place finishes that he's done in the recent second. He also promised to strengthen the squad and foster more talent from the academy. Bukayo Saka, of course, had started emerging from the team, but now he's like the cornerstone of the team. He's a key figure, an influential figure. From the likes of Bukayo Saka, we've seen Ethan Nwaneri, Lewis Kelly, all joining up the ranks of the first team and playing so well. Max Donman is also another talent that seems to be headed for greatness. 15 years, but he was able to get in to get a penalty, and Gyökeres was able to convert such. So that tells you that this team is just ready from a balance of experience, depth, young talents that are going to change the football that Arsenal plays. I'm just excited. And then, of course, Arteta promised that he would engage the fan base. He wanted a team that would have a connection with the fans, and it would feel special to watch a game at the Emirates. I believe Liverpool has always had the best atmosphere. When you go to Anfield Stadium and you're playing there, the opposition knows that there's something coming. There's something coming. Ask Barcelona during the Champions League what happened. Anything can change. And not only Barcelona, Man City suffered there. Arsenal, we've suffered at Anfield. And sometimes it's always the 13th man that pushes you, the crowd. But in as much as the crowd is pushing you, they don't want you to play some mediocre football. Because if you're playing bad football, then why am I supporting you? Why do I feel the urge to keep backing you? And that was a question that Arteta has answered. Good, attractive and tantalizing football will attract fans and help them keep engaged. And right now, most Arsenal fans at least feel good. I remember that there were times when you would watch how helpless Arsenal was, sipping 5 goals like it was something usual. With defenders who you are sure, this is Mustafi, he can't defend this no matter what, no matter how much. This is Debuchy, which is a bit weak. Just imagine from the likes of Mustafi to the likes of Saliba. Arsenal, we deserve it. We've been through dark days, as Raila Amolo Odinga would put it. So we don't wish to go back to the days of Mustafi. We look forward to more Salibas and Gabriels. And we hope we'll continue winning. I'm feeling that as long as the squad is strong, there's proper competition, and we're able to grind out results, then we're almost there. Last but not least was a long-term vision and a continuous improvement. The art of Kaizen, always making sure that you're getting somewhere. With the more than 6 years at the helm of Arsenal, we can see what consistency has paid off. If you've never learned the value of consistency, even if you don't watch football, watch how Arteta has grown and how he's grown his team. I feel that right now, Arsenal have no excuse. I'm seeing a winning team, a strong culture, a team that can compete for major trophies that can play almost any other football team. Name one football team that won't be scared of facing Arsenal in the world. Just name one. The strong is just squad enough. There's a mixture of young talent versus experience. And there's a connection with the fans. The fans feel hopeful. We're just happy. Arsenal fans, bwana. Let us enjoy. Anyway, match day 3 is coming. And we really hope that Arsenal will tear. I believe the biggest game of the weekend should be Liverpool versus Arsenal. That game should be scheduled on Sunday. And as an Arsenal fan, I hope we can go to Anfield and collect all the 3 points. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy, but I believe we have what it takes. We have all it takes to beat Liverpool, although Liverpool are still clinical, especially with the kind of display that Liverpool showed against Newcastle. If we hold our ground, or we just go play dirty football like we did at Man U, then have long balls to Gyökeres because it seems that he can destroy a high line. I don't know how he'll perform against proper defenders like Van Dijk. Well, Van Dijk, miaka imeanza kusonga, we can't say that he has the gas that he used to a few years ago. He won't run as much. Years are catching up with him. But however, he has the experience of playing and defending against the best of the best strikers. So it will be a case of testing Gyökeres whether he's ready for the Premier League or not. Anyway, let's move away from that game because it's actually the icing on the cake of match day 3. We have Chelsea versus Fulham. Chelsea versus Fulham, I expect them to win. They drew last time they were out. But I expect them to at least draw a win. Right now they are home. And I feel, yes, squad is really, really strong. Wolves versus Everton. Who do I go for? I think I'm not definite about this game because I've not gauged the team so well. But I would go for a draw. No apparent reason. Don't ask me why. But that's football. I'm seeing an open game with at least 4 goals. So a 2-2 draw would work. Tottenham versus Bournemouth. Yeah, Tottenham seem to be cooking. I expect at least a 2-1 win from Tottenham. Man U versus Burnley. Manchester United, the great Manchester United, seem to be suffering. For the sake of my friends who support Man U, would Man U at least win a game over this weekend? Please. Otherwise, all my Man U friends are going to be having some ulcers, suffering ulcers because of their team. Because why? Anyway, we really hope that Manchester United will be doing better as we go forward because I believe the last game let me check what was there, which has been their last matches. So from match day 1, of course, we beat them 1-0 to the Arsenal. Then they drew with Fulham 1-1. Yeah, they drew. So I'm expecting Man U, at least they should record their first win against Burnley since they are home. But let's hope that that they'll show better football because I believe they have a better team right now. Sunderland, Brentford. Sunderland are just new. Maybe Brentford. Brentford should win this game. I don't think Sunderland should be able to stress Brentford in any way, or at least a draw. We are yet to watch Sunderland a lot. They performed really well in the championship. Let's see how they do it. Leeds versus Newcastle. Oh my God, I'm scared of Newcastle. And Leeds, with the kind of performance that they showed, their poor defense, especially after sweeping 5 against Arsenal, I expect Newcastle to win this. Nice and easy. Brighton versus Man City. Citizens were humbled by Tottenham over the previous game. So I hope that Pep and his brigade are ready to run riots at Brighton. Although Brighton is not a small team too, so I would actually root for Brighton to at least grind out a draw, just because I don't want Man City to win. I'm a hater. Yeah, haters have no specific reasons. Hasidiana Shabab, as we say in Swahili. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. Forest versus West Ham. Oh, Forest. I think Nottingham Forest are fire. Fire. Nottingham Forest will burn. They have enough wood for the fire, right? Liverpool versus Arsenal. Of course, difficult game. Anfield. A very difficult stadium to get points. No. Let alone a win. I expect an entertaining game. A game with goals, given the fact that we are just starting the season. I expect to see at least 4 goals because we have exciting forwards. I'm not definite because both of them have really nice defenses. But I'm really hoping we'll see goals. I'll give it to Arsenal. 3-2, maybe. But honestly, am I scared of Liverpool? I am. But with the display that they showed over the week while playing on Monday against Newcastle, then I would say that if Arsenal are serious, they are hungrier, they want it more, then there's no reason that they shouldn't. Because with the likes of Eze in the squad, Gyökeres, Zubimendi being our metronome, he's just at the base of our midfield and is able to sip in the pressure. I'd like to see how he performs against the Liverpool midfield and if he's able to play the pivot role alone. So, with Odegaard out, might we be seeing the best of Nwaneri? Or will Eze play the number 10 role? Let's just wait and see. These are the days we looked forward to seeing. Even if we are gonna lose, even if Arsenal will lose, we can at least say, hey, we are able to compete. Remember there was a time when we would face teams like Liverpool and you would be so sure that we are getting a thumping. Remember there was a time that Firmino scored a no-look goal and they thrashed us 5-1. And honestly, we couldn't help because our levels were so low. So whether we win or lose, as long as we are able to go to stadiums like Anfield and compete against such teams, show that we have a chance, then I'm happy. These are the days that we wished for. Anyway, let's move away from football. Get back to our dirty, murky politics in Kenya. And our former deputy president, Riggy G, he's back and he means business. Well, government has been busy trying to respond to the allegations that Riggy G has been making. But now the chief damager, the chief destroyer is here. Riggy G has done a lot of damage to the current Kenya Kwanza government. There was a lot of damage that he did while he was away making allegations while in the US. And government officials just had to respond. Instead of talking about their agenda, they actually talk about the agenda that Riggy G decides, this is what I'm going to set for you. This is the agenda this is what I want us to speak about. And Riggy G is so good at that. He's coming back. He has come back and there's a lot to expect from him. For one, you could feel that there was a kind of settlement. You would not say it was the football fever, but there was a movement away from politics. But when Riggy G is back, the vibrancy of the opposition is there. And you can tell that he's just a man with a pair. I mean, of mipira. You get it. Don't get it, forget about it. Anyway, if you're watching by now and you haven't subscribed yet, then why? Subscription ni kitu ya kunyima mtu kweli. Even before we talk about Riggy G, bana, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Finya like, give us a comment, tell us what do you think we would improve about this episode. Anyway, na kupea dakika Second, kiasi tu, at least you make a subscription. As you subscribe, I want us to think about Riggy G's interview. And what will he do now that he had an interview with Yvonne Okwara? That was one of the first things that he did. Remember, Riggy G is a man who does an interview every month, once a month. He has to do an interview on a national television and speak to one of those vernacular stations, regional stations. So he's I find Riggy G to be a very intentional man who does his things with strategy. Say anything about him, but you can never deny that he's a good strategist, good mobilizer, mood setter. He sets the mood of the country. That's the kind of politics that he is, that is taking us to. And people can talk about Raila. Raila had been an opposition leader, but the vibrancy that Riggy G has, it's the energy that we are looking at and saying that, oh, we've never seen such style of opposition politics. But for how long will it hold water? Just recently, he had this interview with Yvonne Okwara, and it was something really interesting to watch, from him trying to defend his tribalism narrative and Murima to the shares narrative that he had talked about. And I feel that no matter how much explanation he makes, he will never come out of this. He will never come out of or be perceived not as a Murima leader, but as a Kenyan leader. He's been unable to get himself out of that cocoon. And for him, I think the Murima narratives is based on tribalism, and Riggy G needs the tribal card for his party DCP to be relevant. And of course, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, because he believes that for every chama that you have, you need a strong backyard, or this is your stronghold. These are my people. These are the numbers that I am bringing. And if he does not have the Murima numbers and he is not able to consolidate the Murima people behind him, then he's irrelevant. He knows that. And so, for him, the Murima has to be his key priority. He has to protect the Murima first for him to be able to protect Kenya. And he would rather lose Kenya than lose the Murima. Anyway, one thing about Riggy G is that he's so good at destroying Ruto, especially on matters corruption. If you watch the interview, you would see how he deconstructed the SHA issue to Adani, and also admitted that, yes, it's true, Parliament was corrupt, as Ruto had alleged. They were corrupt, they helped in his impeachment. But now he says that Ruto has no moral authority of calling out on the legislature for being corrupt, because he is the actual grand master of corruption. He actually described Ruto as a cunning man and warned the MPs that Ruto has something against them. Any money that they took from him, he has a file of each and every MP and everything they did, and that at the right time, he will use it against them. He will blackmail them. I don't know why that felt like a movie. Why would you use something that I did wrong to blackmail me? Does it look like the movie Blacklists? What kind of role is Ruto playing? Because you even remember he formed an unconstitutional jopo to investigate corruption. And you wonder, wait, you want to investigate corruption? You shouldn't be investigating corruption. Why are you investigating corruption, boy? Anyway, I don't want to talk about Ruto's corruption a lot. That was not the intention of this podcast. But I remember there was a time that Ruto was saying that there will be no corruption in his government. I really looked for that video. I didn't see it. Because it will be working, his government will be so busy, it will be working like a factory or like in an industry. There will be no room for stealing. Oi, a few months, a few years down the line, can we talk about the same? Well, let's listen to this warning that Riggy G had to the MPs, where he was telling them that he monitors each one and every one of them.
But let me tell the members of parliament and senate what is happening. And they'll thank me one day. I know William Ruto, like the back of my hand. I stayed with him. This is what is happening. Most of these senators and members of parliament, except from Rift Valley, know that William Ruto is done his one term. And they know if they are in UDA, they will be sent packing. So they have been talking in bars, in social places, saying we are with Ruto to get what we can. Next year, we'll defect. They have been saying we are waiting for the last budget. Once we get our projects, we'll have to align with the people, because if we go in UDA, we shall not be elected. William Ruto said he's a consumer of raw intelligence. He monitors all these MPs. You can ask me, I was his deputy. He has a file on each one of them. All this money he was bribing them, he has recordings. Ask me, I was his deputy.
Osama huku mwe yai, osama huku we. We, ati Ruto akona faili ya kila mtu, anachukua tu kitabu, anasema tarehe fulani nilikupea hongo ya kiasi fulani. Wewe ulichukua na unajua niko na hii. Jaribu kutoka kwa UDA uone. Hapana kucheka my friend. Anyway, I'm so happy. Let's listen to the second part of what he says. So kuna file. Reminds me of high school, kulikuwa na kitu ilikuwa inaitwa black book. Naingia kwa black book, unaandika kwa black book, unaweka kwa, ukisuspendiwa inawekwa kwa file yako. Just imagine having a file of all MPs understanding all they are doing. Ruto must be such an organized man. Hate him or like him, but when it comes to organizational skills, then Ruto is one man that I would want to emulate. When it comes to organization, he's one person I'd like to. Just how he organizes his stuff and keeps records is something I would just like to study.
There is another senator who went to collect some money from some businessmen from Nakuru. I've even seen the video. You know, he has all these recordings for all these bribes, for all these things the MPs have been doing. William Ruto is a smart man. He knew one day these guys can shortchange him and they can abandon him. So he knows that next year there will be mass exodus. So this multi-agency team he has formed is to collect evidence and create files on all leaders in Kenya. And he'll call them one by one. I hear you want to leave UDA and go to DCP and go to Wiper. This is your file. Try. Next week you are in court. Same for governors, same for everybody. Why would William Ruto want to take over investigations? He said when he formed the government that he'll make sure the National Police Service is independent. He'll give it money. He'll make sure judiciary is independent. He'll make sure the DPP is independent. Today he is saying he wants to form a multi-agency team under the office of the president to deal with corruption. I can tell you, and I want to tell these members of parliament, you will have to stick with William Ruto to the end. You'll go home together, because the minute you try to move and abandon him, like it happened to Moi in the year 2002, he will have a file on all of you. So all those senators who took money during my impeachment, all those MPs who took money during my impeachment, all those MPs who took money for the finance bill, all those MPs who have been taking money from William Ruto and his cronies for various things in parliament, William Ruto has a file on each one of you, and none of you will be able to abandon him. For the money that you took, you have to stick with William Ruto up to the ballot. And you try, and you tell me, you have seen already, the EACC after William Ruto spoke. That is a script, you can see how good it is. The minute he spoke, the EACC said William Ruto has done that. That's done well. He says we have 4 governors now at Arada. And you see the governors at Arada, Kimani Wamatangi, because he doesn't agree with the Kimani Ichung'wah in Kiambu. So they are using that file to coerce him politically, And what will happen now, this multi-agency team, it has been outlawed by the court, but he still form it. They are going to create files to enable William Ruto to deal with people like ourselves, who don't agree with him, and to hold all those leaders who are with him, who may want to abandon him and go to another political party.
All right. Can't be a better time to see your enemy suffering. All my enemies are suffering. And if there's been one enemy of Kenya, has been actually the Kenyan parliament. The things that the Kenyan parliament has done. Remember the June 25th? When people died at the parliament. And actually, you remember they got in parliament the power of the people. Article 1 of the Constitution. The people shall exercise their power directly or indirectly. On June 25th, we exercised our powers directly. That was June of 25th, 2024. And since that day, Parliament is not the same. Now that Ruto has something against the MPs, and of course, the allegations of, he is corrupt, they've really rattled the parliamentarians. And you could really tell that, kama mbaya. It's for the first time that we're having a fallout between the executive and the parliament that seems direct. But now, even as we are having a fallout, we can never know whether these are games or, with Kenyan politics, you never know. We can be taken for a ride. But I was wondering, what if the legislators also have something against Ruto? Remember, there were some leaked WhatsApp chats for a specific group that has our kubwa was saying the chats moving around. And then the person who actually took the chats or took screenshots of the chat, alikuwa amesave Ruto kama one term. So it means that there's someone who is really close to power and he saved Ruto as one term. Hey! And you people have no mercy. You politicians are not good people. Anyway, maybe this WhatsApp group could be the one that Riggy G was complaining that he was removed from. And that's how he knew that he's gonna be impeached. Nilitolewa kwa WhatsApp group nikajua impeachment inakuja. Ni WhatsApp group gani ushaitolewa ukasikia? Bana, I want to demonstrate bana. Return me to the WhatsApp group. Admin, you cannot do that to me bwana. Riggy G was there. You cannot remove me from the WhatsApp group. Shares za WhatsApp group zilikuwa ngapi? But if Kenya is run via WhatsApp group, you remember him saying that it's on that WhatsApp group that the president's calendar was sent. I was wondering, wait, the president's diary and calendar or schedule should not be shared just via WhatsApp. Maybe muone, but if you're supposed to access it, why can't you use something simple like Google Calendar, Outlook also has a calendar that you can be scheduling, Panga Diary. Those are just some basic IT. But I almost forgot. Kabogo is the minister for ICT. And Itumbi is the strategist, digital strategist. Yeah, you can strategize via social media. But anyway, let's digress. And with the fallout that is coming between parliament and the executive, we've seen that the bread-based government wants actually to take away CDF and GAF from parliamentarians. And I feel that now Ruto is cutting parliamentarians to size. And one thing about Ruto, hate him or like him, he knows how to push his way around. He knows how to bulldoze whatever he wants to be done, the way he wants it, how he wants it. Whether you like it or not, he's gonna have his way. The good way or the bad way, but he's gonna have his way. So if you ask me, between Ruto and the MPs, who will win? I think Ruto wins against the MPs, hands off, because MPs are some of the most hated people. Actually, if you would ask me, I think Ruto, citizens would hate parliamentarians more because they are not doing their job. parliamentarians are hated more than Ruto in actual sense. And most of them are dismissed because, as we were saying, June 25th took away their credibility. But how I really wish the push that Ruto is having against the CDF and also with Raila's backing, I really wish that was the same vigor that they had for the implementation of the constitution. But anyway, one of the things that we looked forward after Riggy G came back was that he would actually try to substantiate on the Al-Shabab claims. Remember, he said that the president had met Al-Shabab leaders in Mandera, and that was like, wow, where did that come from, Riggy G? Riggy G is a person who talks a lot. For me, if you were to ask me, sometimes your greatest skill can be your greatest undoing. And while Riggy G is a good orator, sometimes it borders between a masterclass of a speech and verbal diarrhea. And at times it becomes verbal diarrhea, but sometimes he makes some serious allegations. I remember the first time that he said that Ruto was directly linked to Hemedi, the RSF leader from Sudan. Those were some really scary news that I got shocked, and I was wondering, how would you make such a serious allegation? In his interview, he didn't actually substantiate the claims because he said that the investigations were not launched by Kenyans, but he will help the US government, who are the ones who are investigating. He had been threatened to be arrested in Nini, but of course nothing happened. But on his coming back, we could see that goons did a goon job of disrupting his trail. And of course, you don't just come back and, bana, si hata kama ulikuwa safari ya ndege ya over 10 hours, si hata unafika unapumzika jamini. Ama alikuwa amelala kwa first class, so he can't relate to jet lag na nini. Well, we don't want to see goons disrupt meetings, but you don't need to have all that flamboyancy. You're back, you're the best thing that has ever happened to Kenya after sliced bread. Not really. There are so many leaders, so many people who would run Kenya so well without having to kill people, without having to steal, and not make it look like it's all about them. The praises, na hizi sifa zote, I see, he's going to have a campaign trail, nini. It's all just clout. I don't think that they have the best interest of the citizens at heart. And of course, when it comes to the government, when you're opposing the government, you automatically have a punching bag. Because even when the government does not wants to do the right thing, there will always be something wrong to criticize. And so Riggy G might confuse his popularity by thinking that he's actually popular. But if you ask me, I would tell you, Riggy G is not popular. But Ruto's unpopularity makes him popular. Just because people agree with Riggy G does not mean that they like him. But their hate to Ruto surpasses their love for Riggy G, which I think he should use in the right way, because the next phase of politics that we're going to experience in the next coming months will determine a lot. From one, whether he is going to be successful with the upcoming by-elections, especially trying to get people in parliament. Remember, DCP haina hata mbunge yoyote, so there's no representation yet. There's nothing much they can say. And in boxing, there are some experienced boxers who might decide, I'm going to box you till the 5th round, till the 7th round. I'm going to wait for you to get tired. And Ruto might decide to play that long game. Let's see how much money you have. How much are you able to fund your people? For how long are you going to sustain this energy? At times, you'll feel that your energy is replenished. You need to replenish your energy. And Ruto is actually on a charm offensive. He now wants to be liked by the people. And Ruto has phases where he doesn't mind whether you like him or not. But when he's on his charm offensive, you should fear. You should be scared, because That is a kind of man who will convince even his greatest critics. You remember Hussein Mohammed, who Ruto used to have a very difficult time engaging him because he had the tough questions. Sai, he's in his communications team. To name just but a few, Raila Odinga. How is Raila Odinga working with Ruto? Okay, you might say that Raila has worked with other people, with other presidents before, but it takes a level of conviction for people who used to criticize him to be there with him. Same as wale wawili wanakishiba wa niningi hawasumbuangi. Those two brothers, Weta and Mudavadi, they also were so vehemently against Ruto, but now wako ndani ya serikali bwana. Anyway, let's see how it goes. I'm looking forward to a successful give and take between Ruto and the parliamentarians. And for me, I'm looking at it from all my enemies suffering perspective. I was remembering a meme where two Chelsea defenders, I believe it was John Terry, I can't remember who was the other defender actually. And the caption was, "May your enemies be as confused as these two Chelsea players marking themselves." I really hope to really get that meme and put it here. Wacha wajaribu wenyewe. They are being dispersed in 7 ways. Parliament versus executive. Whether it's real or not, we just want to see the drama because the likes of Ishungwa yapping here and there. And of course, parliamentarians are agitated. Let's see how it goes. The other thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing about Riggy G, last but not least, I really want to see how he handles Nakuru as a battleground. Remember, there were some serious allegations that he made about Susan Kihika's husband, Sam Mburu. He alleged that Sam Mburu is the senior businessman. He gives instructions to the police. He's doing at all meters imported in Kenya are imported through him, and he does that business with the president, so he's untouchable. Susan Kihika thinks that she's untouchable, so he's gonna go there and declare who will be the next governor. Of course, Riggy G is whoever he thinks he is, but with the way government is handling him and the goons, I'm a pro-peace. I don't want to see any violence. I really want the drama that comes with politics, but how is he going to handle Nakuru? And what will be the gains? We are here for the dramas. As we just sit down, make coffee, sip and watch. As of now, a win is a win. Let them continue suffering because they never mind how much we are suffering. Anyway, there was an article I was reading on the Star, and this is the headline. The article was dated on, what date is this? The article was dated on 15th August. And the topic of the article is when breasts become a burden. That Kenyan women have opened up on the mental pain of breasts that have never stopped growing. A condition called giganstomastia. Where? Giganstomastia. So giganstomastia is a sickness where the breasts just become gigantic. They become gigantic and they never stop. They just grow bigger and bigger. Anyway, I digress, sorry. Me trying to speak like an Italian doctor. Anyway, breasts, God's beautiful masterpiece that was just put on women, shapely, symmetric, a source of life, a source of health, a source of joy, a source of refreshment. a source of nourishment and sweet intimate bonds for the whole family, not the children alone. If you know, you know. Now, inside the breast there's a whole milk industry. Alveoli that remove milk like factories, labels, like industrial parks, and the ducts that deliver the milk that is always headed to the nipple spermatic pure awesomeness. Anyway, behind this God's beautiful bliss is a sickness that is called giganstomastia. It's a rare condition where women's breasts just grow to abnormally large levels, and they actually cause pain. There's difficulty in moving, and other health problems such as kuumwa na mgongo, among others. Well, with this problem, listen, I would like to read an excerpt of this article. Mary remembers having normal breasts as a child. They developed as expected in her early teens, but they did not stop growing. What was a natural part of her femininity and pride soon became a burden. By her 20s, she could no longer stand for long without her back aching. She stopped playing sports. Sleep became a complicated process of propping up with pillows to ease the weight on her chest. Where she says that it has taken a significant toll on my mental health, contributing to persistent feelings of sadness, anxiety, and low self-worth, and also declining my overall quality of life, she told researchers. Kuna ndege inapita eko bwana, acha tuache ipite. So, giganstomastia has actually been identified as a rare condition that affects women's physical, psychological, and social well-being, and deserves urgent public attention. So, some of the things that have been understood with this sickness is that they say all people with giganstomastia have heavy breasts, an altered posture, restricted movement, and constant pains. For someone like Mary, she says that the backaches grew, and they even spread further to her legs. Another woman was saying that she was diagnosed with back pain, which later migrated and affected the right leg, made it painful, and at times she experienced numbness. With this condition, physical activity becomes difficult, with many avoiding running, exercising, walking for long distances due to exhaustion, and also breathing difficulties. Some of the difficulties that you might find women have, especially when you have, would I say XL breasts? Let's say big breasts, or you're just blessed. You're more blessed than others when it comes to the dashboard. Is that you might not find the best bra for you, or they might be a little bit more expensive. And this condition is said that it happens in women who experience gigantomastia. 1 in 10 women are said to have experienced such. So you can imagine 10% of women have this condition. And of course, there's a lot that has been said, and we are a society of myths and misconceptions. There are a lot of things that we say against or we assume about people with big breasts. And due to lack of awareness, we might end up doing the wrong things or saying the wrong things to those people, thinking that these are the real causes, but they are not. Well, let's look at some of the myths and misconceptions that we have about big breasts. Remember, Kwanza, I'm not a fan of tribal jokes, but There's one tribe in Kenya, sitaki kusema ni gani. They've been accused of most of their ladies have big breasts, lakini huku nyuma hawajabeba. Wako na mbele lakini hawana nyuma sana. Anyway, let's look at some of the myths and misconceptions that we have about big breasts, especially the Kenyan context. You'll hear someone say that, as long as if a woman has big breasts, she's just promiscuous. Huyu unaona hata venye hadi matiti zake zimekaa. Wamelala na watu wengi. Well, that's false. Just because your body shapes looks like this or your breasts are big does not mean that you are promiscuous. It has no actual relation with it. Others will think that just because the breasts are big, then they're fun and glamorous. Actually, you might be a lady and looking at those big breasts that your friend has and thinking, I won't like those. Well, you never know. Will you afford the the expensive bras? Will you keep up with the back pains? Struggling with sleep? How will you manage? And that maybe if she has big breasts, then maybe she's breastfeeding someone's twins. Well, the size of the breast does not necessarily correlate to the size of milk production. Remember, in statistics, we used to say that correlation does not mean causation. So just because someone has big breasts does not mean that they are breastfeeding. You could find that hata kona matiti kubwa na hata hajoi nyonyesha. You get it? Some people also think that men love big breasts and that women who have big breasts have it easy. Well, women who have big breasts, it's not necessarily that they'll have a head start when it comes to getting men. Actually, in real sense, you might find that they have a bigger problem where maybe they are so big that even jogging is an issue. And if they have to jog, they need some proper sports bra that will help them jog better. Someone will tell you, ukiona dema kona majigi kubwa, lazima uwe ni mfertile. Huyo ako sawa. Big breasts don't necessarily mean that one is highly fertile. It's an old school myth. Fertility is about ovaries and the reproduction system. In the reproduction system, uliona mahali kulikuwa na theories kweli? Uliona? Did you? Okay, and they say that breasts don't sag if they're big enough. Why? Well, a breast are also a victim of gravity. And gravity has no favorites. Remember, whatever goes up must eventually come down. So usisikia ati, zimeshuka, zimefanya nini. They'll at one point come down. Whatever goes up must come down. And that if a woman has a big breast, it would mean that she's having a perfect health. Breast size don't actually determine how healthy a woman is. Well, there's a partial truth about it, but when it comes to extreme growth, like giganstomastia, then it's not about size anymore. It's not about size anymore and health. It actually becomes a health risk. And for most women, you find that the size of your breast is more your genetics and hormones. Someone will also tell you a misconception or a myth like, women with big breasts need reduction surgery. Well, some of them do for health reasons, as we were talking about the giganstomastia sickness. But sometimes, some of them love their curves, some of them love their blessing and take their crown with pride. But sometimes, wanting a reduction surgery might be more of it's for your own personal comfort and not just because you want to meet the society's opinions or expectations. Then utasikia mtu mwingine anakuambia big breasts actually mean confidence. Not really. Confidence does not live in the chest. Confidence, it's a mindset. The bigger your tits does not mean the bigger your confidence. big breasts are the perfect pillows. Hey, nasikia tu, you just want to lie there, just have weird dreams. You remember those weird dreams that back in high school, especially those the adolescence years, you have just weird dreams. I know most men can understand. Just weird things that you think about. Anyway, beyond what you might think are perfect pillows, you young man, just remember that sometimes they are sweaty, heavy, and awkward when you actually try to take a nap on them. So remember, big breasts are not just airbags. And bras are not some engineering degrees. So last but not least, the breast size. I think we talked about that the breast size is not actually proportional to the amount of milk that a mother can carry, because the breast is mainly made of a fat tissue and not more of the milk producing glands. Milk production actually depends on the granular tissue, and the milk making parts are called the alveoli and levus. And a woman with smaller breasts may have just as many, or even sometimes more, active alveoli and lobes, the ones that produce breast, as a woman with bigger breasts. So the supply of milk actually works on a demand. The body will make milk depending on how often and effectively your baby suckles. So frequent breastfeeding or pumping will boost supply regardless of the size and also what you are eating. Remember, kama unakula vizuri utaweza kupata maziwa vizuri, you'll be able to get good milk. Small breast can feed twins and a big breast can struggle. Remember, small breast can feed twins, but big breast can still struggle. It's not about the size of the breast. It's more about the mother's health, the hormones, and breastfeeding frequency and size. So I really hope that the kind of mentalities we've had or myths and misconceptions about women with big breasts, they're going to change. And we have a different perception. Sio kuangalia ti mtu unaona huyu vile amebeba, lazima amekuwa very promiscuous. Kuja upatane na kadem kengine hata she looks like a 15-year-old, but a work experience, pale kwa CV experience, background experience, nayo ako nayo kwa wingi. So it's not, you can't judge a book by the cover, can you? I wish to stop at that. That has been my time. It's been exciting to have you here. We thank you for taking your time to listen in. Till next time, adios.